This presentation is a PowerPoint presentation done by 3 Divine Word University students at Divine Word University Pom campus as part of their Managing Finance Assignment 2. The topic given to them was financial mismanagement. The title of their presentation, Case Study Paul Tiensten's Missappropriation of Public Funds. PNG is rated 28 out of 100 and is classified as highly corrupt according to 2019 Corruption Perception Index. Our case study is based on the 10 million kina misappropriation of public funds by Pomio MP Paul Tiensten. Paul Tiensten from Sampon village, Pomio, East New Britain, serving as a state minister for 2 years, was found guilty by the National Court of dishonestly paying the money to a locally owned airline company. Tiensten conspired with 3 people, Hermas Waratoto, William Sant, and Ruby Zariga, to release 10 million kina to travel owned by Waratoto. During the time of misappropriation, Tiensten was Minister for National Planning and Monitoring. The project proposal by Travel Air never went through the processes and procedures under the Department of National Planning's own guidelines. Measures. What measures can we get out of Paul Tiensten's case? According to Task Force Sweep Team Chairman Sam Koim, in a statement said, the case was one of the first to be investigated by the body when it was established by the government in August 2011. According to EMTV, the National Court Judge, Justice Gibbs Salika, said the case stood alone with over 10 million kina being misapplied, whereas other MPs who served between 1 and 5 years in jail only misapplied less than 150,000 kina. The Pomio MP has also been ordered to repay a sum of $3.8 million that he was found guilty of misappropriating. The Pomio MP Paul Tiensten has been sentenced to 9 years in prison with hard labor, 1 year less than the maximum sentence. He has also been ordered to repay a sum of $3.8 million that he was found guilty of misappropriating. Lessons. What lessons can we get out of Paul Tiensten's case? The proper appraisal processes and the Public Finance Management Act must always be upheld. The proper appraisal processes and the Public Finance Management Act must always be upheld. MPs convicted of criminal charges could lose their seats. An MP jailed for 6 months or more would automatically lose his or her seat. The process of investigation and prosecution would take a great deal of time. Considering the fact that MPs are voted into Parliament to deliver, and I repeat, to deliver service back to the people of this great nation, the independent state of Papua New Guinea.
Mr. Tiensten was sentenced to 9 years imprisonment with hard labor this afternoon. This is 1 year less than the maximum sentence. Judge presiding the case, Justice Gibbs Salika, said 4 of these years will be suspended only and until the prisoner repays the sum of 10 million kina, which he was found guilty of misappropriating. This is effective as of today. The prisoner will make the repayment while serving his time at Bomana. Justice Salika said this case stood alone on the size of the amount misapplied, 10 million kina. He attributed this fact to the 11 members of parliament who served time between 1 to 5 years for misapplying monies worth 150,000 kina and below. Justice Salika also took into account that it was a serious offense and that was in breach of trust to commit this offense, and a lot of money was involved. He said he took into account the prisoner's enormous contributions to the development of his electorate and the country, and also his sporting contributions as well. However, Justice Salika said the case presidents of the members of parliament who were charged and convicted of misappropriation charges show that none of them misappropriated amounts of more than 150,000 kina, yet they received very stiff sentences. In November last year, the former planning minister and Pomio MP Paul Tiensten was found guilty for misappropriating the money. Mr. Tiensten was found guilty on one count of misappropriation by trial judge Deputy Chief Justice Salika in the Waigani Supreme Court. The 10 million kina was allegedly paid to Travel Air, an airline company owned by Kokopo businessman Eremas Wartoto. The transaction was made during Mr. Tiensten's term as the Minister for National Planning and Monitoring. This was one of the first cases Investigation Task Force Sweep Team investigated when it was established by the government in August 2011. Bernadette Effie, National MTV News.
To conclude, financial mismanagement by entities within the public and private sector comes with a huge penalty when caught by the law. Our Financial Management Act, along with our Constitution in general, must be upheld in order to prevent such cases within the country for the good of the country. Like Paul Tiensten, whether an Highlander or an Islander, politician or an unemployed on the street, our law must be upheld for the good of our country. If Papua New Guinea wants to raise its rating in the Corruption Perception Index, the government must seriously address the fraud and corruption from the top level management right down to the low level with more political support. Transparency International, TPI, and Ombudsman Commission must be given more teeth to effectively invest fraud and corruption cases at all levels, but especially at the political and high-level management.
And the first everything today, and results is good. That's a victory to the people of Papua New Guinea. Show that the corruption never pays. There is every penalty. So the first case that we had, Tiensten, my message is that Tiensten is going to jail because of a footnote he made. There are other cases where directives have been written by politicians. Now listen, people higher up. Those are cases that have been put through the same process. We have 77 now currently in court. We're concentrating on those prosecutions in collaboration with the Office of Public Prosecutors.
If Paul Tiensten was sentenced to jail for 9 years, what about other members of parliament, citizens and non-citizens within the public and private sector who committed such crime but never faced the full force of the law? What makes them so special than Paul Tiensten, or even worse, above the law? That's something for you and I to think about. As citizens of this great country, the independent state of Papua New Guinea, the democratic country, I read power to the people of Papua New Guinea.